Hello. Today we are going to go through an overview of the content area teams and what it means to participate in one here at Hoopeston Area Schools. So these are the basic things that we're going to talk about today. We're going to look at content area team from a very broad perspective, a very high level overview. If I share things with you today and you're thinking, I don't know how to do that, it's okay. If there is a task that I show you today, or if there's something as we go through our content area work that you're going to have to do, I will teach you how to do it. I will share templates and I will give you the tools that you need to do it before you are asked to do any task. So I will give you examples of things that you might be asked to do as a CAT member today, but please don't stress out about it. We will spend a lot of time learning before you are ever asked to do any kind of task. So first of all, what is a CAT? The CAT stands for Content Area Team, and it is a representative group of teachers from across the district who were chosen or volunteered to work through a curriculum cycle for a designated content area. So for many middle school and high school teachers, there is only one content area teacher for each grade level, so you are automatically considered to be a member of your content area team because we need you as the grade level representative for your content area. In the elementary buildings, it just kind of varied from building to building on how the principals handled that. In some cases, it was kind of left up to grade level teams to determine who was going to represent which content area team. It just kind of depended, again, on how the principals wanted to handle that in the buildings. But either way, I do appreciate your willingness to represent your content area team. And I do understand that sometimes that representation will change as turnover happens and as life happens, but the work will continue to move forward. And regardless of what our representation looks like on these teams, the work will not change and the cycles will stay consistent. So I think it's important to note that this is not something that I dreamt up. The work that we do on these content area teams is all driven through a group called the Curriculum Leadership Institute, or CLI. So as we go through these cycles and as we go through this work, I will frequently reference CLI. This is a nonprofit organization that was founded in the 1980s. So their work has been around for a long time. It is constantly evolving and is rooted in a lot of research. They are always updating their practices to reflect what is current and what is best practice. But they do operate off of a solid model for school improvement that is rooted on four really foundational elements, and that is the idea of school improvement centers around curriculum assessment and instruction with one foundational governing piece. For us, that governing piece is our district curriculum committee, or our DCC, that does kind of organize how curriculum assessment and instruction does operate within our district. And no matter what, our goal for all of this work is to improve student learning. So it is important to note that every time we meet, we do want to operate off of a set of meeting norms. We went through with our math and PE groups, and we spent quite a bit of time establishing a set of 6 norms. And while it may seem, I don't know, maybe juvenile might be a word that could be used to set meeting norms. You know, we are professionals and we expect people to act professional. when we talk about some of the topics that we do in these meetings, they are passion topics for us as educators, and sometimes our emotions can get the best of us when we're talking about our work and what we bring into the classroom. And it's easy to, again, let our emotions get the best of us. And so it's important that we keep ourselves rooted in these norms, and that we have these norms and these procedures to come back to, and to guide our meeting practices, and to make sure that we are as productive as possible, especially this year, more than any year. As you can see on the screen, we only have 3 meeting dates that we are able to utilize this year because of some changes in practice. This year, we only have the opportunity to get together 3 times this year, and those meetings will be for no longer than 1 hour. So it is critical that we utilize that hour to the best of our ability, and that we maximize the time that we have together. So you can see those norms that were established from the math and PE groups. They are very solid norms, and they've served us very well. So rather than going through the process of creating different norms for different CAT groups, I thought for consistency's sake, we would just have some district CAT norms and continue to utilize those 6 norms for all of our CAT teams. So we will continue to use these 6 norms. We will keep kids at the center of all of our conversations. Our students are why we are here, and we need to make sure that as we make decisions, we are making decisions based on what is best for them, not what is best for us. We need to make sure that we are cognizant of time, again, especially because our time together is so limited this year. It is important that everyone is actively participating. If you check out, if you choose to engage in activities other than what we are doing as a group, you are wasting everyone's time, and that is not fair to the group. We only will have, like I said, we will only have about an hour together. We need to be giving each other the courtesy of being actively engaged for that hour that we are together. It is important that we are open to ideas and compromises. We, like I said, what we bring to our classrooms, we all feel very passionate about. We believe that everything we do for our students is what is best for them, or we wouldn't be doing it. But when we do start to have these alignment conversations, compromises often have to be made. And so it's important that we are able to listen to others' opinions, explore options, be open to ideas, and be willing to make compromises, again, to do what is best for our students. And this year, this final norm is going to be more important than ever. We need to end each meeting with a sense of direction and follow through. You will see on our agendas, every meeting we will have to leave with some field action items. We'll talk more about those at future meetings, but there will be items that we will have to do between meetings in order to be prepared for the next. This will be a change in practice. The math and PE CAT groups had many, many more meetings than what your CAT groups will have. So there were not as many tasks that they were asked to complete between meeting times. There will be field action items that your groups will be asked to complete between meetings. It will be critical that those action items are completed prior to the next meeting. It will derail our work if those action items are not completed. If people come to meetings unprepared, the work will not be able to move forward at the pace that it needs to move. So again, sticking to these norms is going to be very critical for us to be able to maximize our time and get the work done that we need to get done. So one thing that we're trying to do through this CAT work and through this continuous improvement work is create curriculum cycles. And so hopefully when I say the word cycle, you think in your mind of a circle. And really that's what it is. We're creating these curriculum circles, these cycles that we will go through with every content area. Now, this initial cycle that we're creating, the first time we create these curriculum cycles or loops, it's going to feel so much heavier than any other typical cycle that we go through. And there are a few reasons that it's going to feel different. It's a much, much heavier lift this first time because we're creating everything as we go. We don't have the documents in place that are going to drive all of our work. We're creating them as we go. We're learning all of this new terminology and all of these new different ways of thinking as we go. There's a ton of work, and as you can see, there's just not enough time. That's always the issue that we run into with everything we try to do with education. There's a lot of work and there's never enough time to do it. So one thing I want to take a minute to just highlight for you, and please don't be overwhelmed by this. So this is what's called our long range plan. And this is a document that our DCC, our District Curriculum Committee, manages. Every year we update this so it shows out 10 years. And what this does is it outlines each content area's work for the next 10 years. Each of these letters represents a code that outlines an activity that occurs within the curriculum cycle. So for each of these school years, you can see that there are various activities happening within the curriculum cycle. So for next year, you can see that math has 3 different activities that are happening all at once within the curriculum cycle. That's a lot of stuff that they're going to be doing all at once. And again, that's because it is this initial cycle. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen. But as we get through this initial cycle, in about the year 2930, and I know that seems like forever, but that's about when their second cycle should start if we stay on pace-ish. Things start to slow down for them, and we start to find more of a steady rhythm, and we get into more of a review. This is the part where now we're reviewing the documents that we've created, and we see more of a typical curriculum cycle where we're reviewing and revising and making sure that everything that we have is up to date and current and still relevant and meeting our needs. We're not building anymore, we're just revising and reviewing. And so it doesn't feel quite so heavy once we get through that initial build. So as I said, what the big picture, what we're trying to do is build out these curriculum cycles. And this is a huge, long process. None of this happens quickly. We're looking very big picture, very long term, okay? So in a typical curriculum cycle, this is going to happen over multiple years, but you're going to have a research and development phase. That's your PD heavy time. So as a content area, that's when you're going out and you're finding what's new and hot in my content area, right? I'm learning everything I can. Are there new standards? Are there new mandates? What's happening in my content area? Are there any new teaching strategies that we need to be learning about? What's new? Then you're going to take what's new and you're going to look at your curriculum through fresh eyes. Do we need to adjust our curriculum to include any of those new elements? Then you're going to go back and you're going to look at your assessment. Okay, now that we've made adjustments to our curriculum, What adjustments do we need to make to our assessments to make sure that our assessment is accurately testing the learning that our students need to be doing? Okay. Then we're going to look at our resources. Are our resources supporting what we want our students to be learning? Then you look at your instructional practices. Okay, are instructional practices supporting the learning that we want our students to be doing? And then we might throw in some maintenance years where you can just kind of keep doing the good things that you're doing. So that's the typical flow of a curriculum cycle. And again, it's all about this cycle of continuous improvement. So once you finish this cycle, you may have a maintenance year or two, depending on how things go, and then you loop back around to research and development and you start it all over. And the idea of doing this work through a content area team helps to avoid burnout, particularly in the elementary buildings where you have teachers teaching more than one content area. Because then we have one teacher whose emphasis is working on the math, right? And so we've got maybe one second grade teacher who goes through the curriculum cycle in math, and their emphasis is really focusing on math, and they're bringing all that math information back to their team. And then another second grade teacher is really going through the curriculum work with English or with reading, and they're bringing all that information back to their team. So not one teacher is expected to do all of this work with every single content area because that would be way too much. So we're sharing the work, we're sharing the love, but we're still making sure that every content area is receiving the same amount of attention, and we're reviewing resources and curriculum and assessments, and we're keeping everything current in the same way and on the same schedule. So really, I think the big question on everybody's mind is what can you expect the first year through? I know going into math and PE, everybody was very edgy. What is this going to look like for us the first year? And so that's really what I wanted to answer for you all in these meetings that we were supposed to have today was what does next year look like for you? What can you expect out of next year? And of course, I have a plan in mind and there are things that I would love to be able to get through, but our schedule can be flexible. We're going to try to get through as much as we can, but if we don't get to all of this, we don't get to all of this. I want to make sure that we work as hard as we can, but what we do is quality. I don't want to push through and produce something that is subpar just to get through it. So I want to make sure that what we do is very good quality, even if that means that we have to slow down a little bit. So one of the first things that we'll do next year is we'll work on creating topic cards. Now, these topic cards are going to come from your surveys. So if you are someone that has not completed your survey yet, please try to get that done because creating topic cards will be so much more difficult if you don't have your survey done, okay? Your survey is essentially a graphic organizer for you that will make your topic cards so much easier to complete, okay? So I'm going to show you what a topic card looks like real quick. We'll use a math example that was created obviously by one of the math groups. And your social studies or your fine arts examples or your topic cards will look a little different. And I'll teach you how to do it before you have to do it, okay? But they will be color-coded according to your standard strand. And this is one of those tasks that I will teach you how to do, and I will give you the tools and the templates, but then this will be something that will have to be completed outside of our meeting time. So your topic cards will look something like this. So you'll have a topic of something that you teach, and it will be color-coded. The paper will be color-coded according to standard, and then you'll put the standard up in the corner, And then each of these numbers means something different, and I'll tell you what that is. Okay? So very straightforward. It did not, once our math and PE people figured out the coding system and what exactly they were supposed to do, they kind of flew through them quickly. The actual creation of the topic cards did not take them very long to do. So that's the first thing. After that, we're going to build what we call curriculum walls. They're not literal walls, they're figurative walls. But we're going to take those topic cards and we're going to put them on large pieces of newsprint. So what we would like to have is one piece of newsprint per grade level or per class. This will have to be done during a meeting time. And then we're going to use those walls for alignment conversations. Yes, there are different ways that we could do this. We could find electronic ways to do this, but the walls provide a really wonderful visual that allows for really beautiful and easy discussions. And so what you see, I'm going to show you an example here. This is an example of the elementary math walls. And so you can see the cards are color-coded by standard strand. And so one of the reasons we color code them by standard strand is it allows us to get a real quick visual and say, okay, wow, there's a lot of blue on kindergarten, but not a lot on first grade. Is that appropriate? You know, you think in your mind, okay, what does the blue represent? Which standard strand? Is that appropriate? Is that a problem? Do we need to address that? You know, we're missing green entirely on this grade level. Is that appropriate? Is that a problem? And then we can go through and we can really just have a lot of really great conversations based on some gaps that we notice or some repetitions that we see because we have these visuals. It makes it a much easier way to start these conversations. We can also move cards around from wall to wall. It makes the alignment conversations more concrete than trying to do it in a digital way or in like on a paper pencil way on notebooks and tables and things like that. So it worked really well for us with math and PE. So we're going to continue with that format as we move forward with our other content areas. So that will be step 2, is building the walls. And then we'll use those walls again to conduct these alignment conversations in step 3. And this really is probably as far as we will get next year. And this will be the heart of what we do for next year. This will be our most important piece until we get to writing the curriculum. And honestly, step 3 is probably the most critical piece for us at this point, because especially with social studies, personally, I don't feel like this piece has been done in a very, very long time. And I could be wrong on that. But my personal opinion is I feel like step 3 really needs to be done for social studies. So that is a critical piece for us. And we will spend as much time as we need to on step 3 to make sure that we do a really good job there. If for some reason we happen to fly through step 3 and it just goes really, really well and we are just super productive there, then I will be ready for us to prepare for curriculum writing, and we'll start to learn about the different components that we'll use in our curriculum, outcomes and components, and we'll start to learn that language. But I do not anticipate us being ready for that next year. But if we happen to be, I will be ready for that, and we can go ahead and start on that. But that is next year in a nutshell. I was really hoping that we would have some face-to-face time today so that you could ask me any questions that you had, because I'm sure you guys do have questions. But since we do not have face-to-face time today, if you do have questions, please do not hesitate to email me call me, stop in and ask whatever questions that you have. If you feel like it's easier to make an appointment with me to stop by and see me, please, whatever you need to do to feel like you have the answers to the questions that you need so that you feel comfortable as we begin this work next year. That is the most important thing to me, is that you feel comfortable as we get started. So I hope you guys enjoy your e-learning day, and I will see you later. Have a great day.